This is Stronger Than My Father with Marcus Minis.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast. I am your host, Marcus Minis Sr. I want to, first of all, start this podcast by thanking my great producer, Mr. Jim McCarthy and Jim McCarthy voiceovers. Check them out if you need good voiceover work. Also like to thank our production team who puts all this stuff you see around me set up, led by Renee Jones. So I'd like to thank her as well. So this is my first podcast going on without a guest. And I want to use this opportunity to tell those who are new to Strong in My Father podcast, why Strong in My Father podcast. This podcast is designed to bring more of an awareness to fatherhood and hopefully bring solutions that can one day stop and break the fatherhood cycle. With this podcast, I wanted to talk about my 20 years of why I'm an advocate for fighting for the fatherless. 20 years ago, my mother asked me to mentor my cousin, and I asked her, where's his dad? And she said, Marcus, he does not have a father. And from there, I always wanted to know why fathers are not there for their kids. I was fortunate to have my dad, Paul Minis Sr. in my life, who raised me, who guided me, who helped me become the man that I am today. So I was lucky. I was blessed to be, quote unquote, in a privileged family, 2-parent home. And I was blessed. But now more than ever, we have a pandemic on our hand. And when we just ending COVID, but I believe we have a fatherless pandemic going on here in America, and no one's really bringing more of an awareness about it. Statistics are alarming for kids growing up without fathers. Just a few here shows that in 2022, 18.3 million children across America are living without a father. That's 1 out of 4 children have a father in the home. That's a serious problem. And 57.6% of black children are growing up without fathers, 31.2% of Hispanic growing up without a father, and 20.7% of white children are growing up without a father. One thing I want to say is that what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it now? The more I look at television, the more I see young black kids on TV robbing, stealing, and killing. I always ask myself, where's the father? Did that child have a father to raise him and teach him the right ways? Or did they not have a father? Now more than ever, I really would like to see and encourage churches to step up, especially in the black church, to step up. And let's have a revival on fatherhood. We have revivals for everything else, but never fatherhood. I don't see a lot of preachers preach about the family and more or less the fatherless. Why not? And that's some things that really bother me to this day. I am a father. I'm a father of 2 boys. That's 14 and it's 7. And I'm not the perfect father, but I work hard every day to be the best father that I can be. And now the Tennessee Department of Human Services is now trying to step up and do something here in Tennessee to bring more of an awareness to fathers. It's a conference coming up September 25th through the 27th at Gaylord Opryland, which is called Amplified Fatherhood, which I'm blessed to be one of the speakers to bring more of an awareness to fatherhood. Many people listen to our podcast and just wondered and listen to some of the stories that we've been able to put out about people growing up without a father. And some of the stories are very emotional. But for me, I just wanted to use this opportunity to have my own personal podcast because 20 years of my life I've dedicated to mentoring young men. I've dedicated to picking them up on Saturdays, spending time with them, even not having, sometimes my own family's not there. But looking at these young boys in their eyes and they're asking the question, where is my daddy, really, really bothers me. And more now than ever, what are we doing here in America to help the fatherless? And one thing, I want to do for talking to men is to step up now more than ever for your child. No single mom should be out here fighting for their children. None. It should be a collective unit. But now I know we live in a society where 1 out of 4 children will have a dad in the home. And not having that dad in the home, the statistics shows that suicide is high on kids who don't have a father. Another statistic is high is dropout of schools dropout, kids dropping out of school, no father. And so we have an issue. And I just think more now than ever, we should step up and try to do something about that. So that's what this platform is about. I didn't want to come on and do a podcast to bash anybody, bash churches or bash preachers. I just think we need to do it more now more than ever to bring more of an awareness to fatherhood. When I see kids struggling reading, I ask myself, is that something have to do with the fatherless? I'm interviewing two Metro professional teachers later today to ask the same question. Is kids growing out of father is an issue why kids are failing in school? And that's the thing that really bothers me, seeing kids fail due to lack of fatherhood. So one statistic I did see that really, really bothered me is the trauma of kids growing out of dads. And Google says the trauma begins if a dad leaves and the individual feels not only a deep sense of loss, but also an overwhelming sense of abandonment. And a lot of the boys that I've mentored told me that their anger comes because their dad wasn't there. And that anger led them to do crime. That anger led them to do things they didn't supposed to do. And having a father in the home, my dad, we worked with my dad so much, we were too tired to get in trouble. But now more than ever, kids, and I primarily work with African-American young boys, they are angry when their dad is not there, because God put in every child to have that longing to have their father. And so now these kids grow up mad. They grow up with gangs, which is called an alternative family. And that's some of the issues why you see kids doing crime. There's no daddy in the home. And a lot of people would debate me on it, about my position on the fatherless. But now more than ever, what are we going to do? What are we going to do now to try to bring more of an awareness to the fatherless? And I harp on the church real quick. Grew up in church. My mother brought me up in church. Some of my friends who I grew up in the church with grew up with their fathers, and they've become great fathers. But unfortunately, I've seen just in my own church, it's just kids growing up without a dad going into crime. And I ask myself, where is the dad? And I know fatherhood is not a popular topic, and I say it in the church. I hope I ain't offending nobody, but it's not popular. But the family structure should be something that should be talked about more than ever. And I hope I ain't offending anybody, because I'm not doing this to offend nobody. It's just me just getting things off my chest. I am a father. I'm a husband of 22 years, and I pride myself in taking care of my family, making sure my family be in the best position to be safe, because my father taught me that. But through our mentorship program, Stronger Sons, I want to teach these boys the importance and the values of fatherhood. And so when we pick up the boys, when we do our mentor sessions, it brings joy to me, because these kids are happy just to have somebody in their life to bless them and pour into them. And that's what Stronger Sons is about. That's what Stronger Than My Father is about, is finding a way to break the fatherhood cycle. And we have to find a way to break it. And it breaks my heart to see kids, when I go to the schools and visit some of my sons, and kids are looking around saying, who dad is that? And that tells me that kids know that they're supposed to have a father. So what are we going to do? Are we just going to continue to sit around and no fathers in the home? What are we going to do? But right now, the fatherless is a pandemic no one's talking about. And I'm so thankful for the Tennessee Department of Human Services just doing this conference to bring more of an awareness. But I challenge churches, especially black churches, when are we going to have a fatherhood conference? When are we going to have a conference to spread more awareness to help bless fathers, pray for fathers, help fathers who are struggling to be a dad? When are we going to do that? I would like to be a part of something like that, because that's what's needed now more than ever, is dads in the home fighting for their children. And that's one thing I pride myself on, is being a good father and being there when my kids wake up in the morning. They see their dad. They see their dad loving the wife. They see their dad being a good man, not going home beating the wife. And that's one thing I'm going to hit on real quick, is abuse. I just saw a news story about a young lady who just lost her life. I think she played football, ladies football, and she died at the hands of abuse. No man should put their hands on a female. And I'm going to say that again. No man should ever put their hand on a female. Domestic violence is wrong. And I think that needs to be said more than ever, that no man puts their hand on a woman. What kind of man are you when you put your hand on a woman? What kind of man are you? And that's one thing that really, really bothers me when I see that more here in America. But Steve Harvey said it best. Undisciplined boys become undisciplined men. And when you're not disciplined, then you do crazy things like that about putting your hands on a woman. Men, step up and make sure your kids are taken care of financially. School's starting soon. Make sure your kids have book bags and school supplies, and make sure your kids are together when they go back to school. And I may be talking a whole another language, but that's the truth. I work hard to be sure my kids can have everything they need to have to go to school. I shouldn't have to depend on my wife for that. It's my job as a man to take care of my kids. And I have two beautiful boys that I love to death. And that's my job. That's what my dad taught me. And that's what I'm trying to use this platform for, is just to bring an awareness, not to offend nobody, not to make nobody mad. But we have a serious problem in America. And that's because men are not in the home taking care of their kids. And when you don't take care of your kids, you have all these problems that you see out here in America today. I started Strong in My Father 10 years ago to try to bring that awareness. I've worked hard, tooth and nail, mentoring, speaking, talking, and trying to bring more of an awareness to fatherhood, because I just don't see it out here a lot. I respect churches for all they do. I respect preachers for what they do, but I'm just challenging preachers now. Have something to deal with fatherhood. And let's try to pray for fathers, because I know fatherhood is not an easy job. I've been a father for 14 years. It's not an easy job, but every day I'm able to see my children. I'm so blessed and blessed that I had a dad that taught me, all the things I needed to do to become a successful father. So that's all I wanted to talk about, my own first little podcast by myself, not venting, not talking about anybody, but I just want to kind of spill my truth on why I feel fatherhood is so important now more than ever. And I believe we're in a fatherless pandemic, because 1 out of 4 children are growing up without a dad, and that's a problem. So as I leave this podcast, one thing I want to say is that fathers, step up. Take care of your children. I can't say that enough. Take care of your children. Juvenile is full of kids, and I guarantee you 90% of them is from fatherless homes, because they had no one to teach them discipline. And that's what this mentoring program is about. That's what I've dedicated my life to, this work of spreading the word on fatherless. So thank you so much for listening to my own personal podcast without a guest. But I want to leave you with this. It's just so important. It's so important to bring fatherhood to an end. Let this pandemic come to an end. I don't know if it happened in my lifetime, but I've dedicated my life to spread the word, bring more of an awareness, and make sure that kids that come out of our program can have a little sense of what a father should be. And I hope I get the opportunity to help and develop more fathers to be great men. And one thing I have to do as a father is live the life. I can't be fussing on podcasts and then going out here doing crazy things. So I encourage you to, I hope this podcast helped you. I hope you didn't turn it off. and said that I got on your nerves, but this is just something I wanted to try out and just see and give people more of a sense of what I feel about the fatherless. So please check us out at strongerthanmyfather.org for this podcast, previous episodes, and please help fight for the fatherless. I am Marcus Benitez Sr., founder and executive director of Stronger Than My Father, and I just hope I helped somebody today. And Father, let's step up, let's be men, and let's do our jobs. God bless you. See you on another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast.